Welcome to the Royal Cheetah Project. Welcome to the YouTube side of the project. We are back for another episode, and this is Vegeta Iii. We're getting to it, and we're starting to get to the good stuff about my man Vegeta. And I'm really excited about this episode. I'm just excited about pushing forward with the project in general, and trying to figure out a way to really push it even harder. So stand by for whatever results I might come up with on that. But I'm still trying to figure that out. We're in Kansas City right now, so. And just doing the final edit for this video, so it'll be lit and legit when it does go up. There was a few flaws in this video, so I'm glad I figured that out. But anyways, we're getting into Vegeta. Where we left off with Vegeta was him taking that L at Earth, right, and feeling, and picking himself up, and pushing forward to Namek, and which could have been even worse, but. He stuck his foot out there anyways. He jumped in that ether anyways, and out of it we got one of the single greatest runs of any character in any anime, as far as like what he does over a period of episodes, and on his own dig. Like he had no help in Namek, and not until the very end. But even then, it was just he was still more powerful than the help that was given to him. So Vegeta's the man, and we're gonna get into why Namek was the shit and push forward into other things on this man's life in future episodes. So please subscribe if you haven't. Check us out on the podcast side as well, and we're getting to it, and we're trying to figure out how to make this as lit as possible, but it's also not being extra. So that's the $60,000 question. So Vegeta 3, let's do it. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed AMV, and I hope you enjoyed the dialogue following. Royal Cheetah Boy, Team Lady, all that good stuff. Team Rosary, Team Divine Mercy, Team Love, Team Positivity, Team Tenseiga, Team Vegeta, Team Dragon Ball Z, Team Goku, all that stuff, man. All that stuff. So we out here. Thank you so much.
Life. I wonder, will it take me under? I don't know. Imagine smoking weed in the street without cops harassing. Imagine going to court with no trial. Lifestyle cruising blue Bahama waters. No welfare supporters. More conscious of the way we raise our daughters. Days are shorter, nights are colder. Feeling like life is over. These snakes strike like a cobra. The world's hot, my son got knocked. Evidently, it's elementary. They want us all gone eventually. Trooping out of state for a plate. Knowledge, if coke was cooked without the garbage, we'd all have the top dollars. Imagine everybody flashing. Fashion, designer clothes. Lacing your click up with diamond rolls. Your people's holding dough, no parole, no rubbers. Going raw, imagine law with no undercovers. Just some thoughts for the mind. I take a glimpse into time, watch the blimp read the world is mine.
If I ruled the world,
imagine that.
I free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be? If you could be mine, we both shine.
If I ruled the world,
still living for today in these last days and times. Where to be paradise life relaxing. Black, Latino, and Anglo-Saxon. Amani exchange the range. Cash, lost tribe of Shabazz. Free at last, brand new whips to crash. Then we laugh in the illa path. The villa houses for the crew, how we do. Trees for breakfast. Dime sexes and Ben stretches. So many years of depression make me vision the better living. Type of place to raise kids in. Open their eyes to the lies. History's told foul, but I'm as wise as the old owl. Plus the gold child, seeing things like I was controlling. Click rolling, tricking 6 digits on kicks and still holding. Trips to Paris, I civilize every savage. Give me one shot, I turn trife life to lavish. Political prisoner set free, stress free. No work release, purple M3s and jet skis. Feel the wind breeze in West Indies. I lick Coretta Scott King, mayor of the cities, and reverse fiends to Willies. It sound foul, but every girl I meet to go downtown. I'd open every cell in Attica, send them to Africa.
If I ruled the world,
imagine that.
I'd free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be? If you could be mine, we both shine.
If I ruled the world,
still living for today in these last days and times.
We'll walk right up to the sun, hand in hand. We'll walk right up to the sun, we won't land. We'll walk right up to the sun, hand in hand. We'll walk right up to the sun, sun, we won't land.
You love to hear the story, how the thugs live and worry. Duck down in car seats, heat's mandatory. Running from Jake, getting chased, hunger for papes. These are the breaks, many mistakes go down out of state. Wait, I had to let it marinate. We carry weight, trying to get laced. Flip the A, stack the safe. Millionaire plan to keep the gap with the cocked hammer. Making moves in Atlanta, back and forth scrambler. Cause you can have all the chips, be poor or rich, still nobody want a nigga have a shit. If I ruled the world and everything in it, sky's the limit. I push the Q45 infinite. It wouldn't be no such thing as jealousies or beef felony. Strictly living longevity to the destiny I thought I'd never see, but reality struck. Better find out before your time's out. What the fuck?
If I rule the world,
imagine that.
I'd free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be? If you could be mine, we both shine.
If I rule the world,
Still living for today in these last days and times.
if I rule the world,
Imagine that.
I'd free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be? If you could be mine, we both shine.
If I rule the world,
Still living for today in these last days and times.
if I rule the world, I'd free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls. If I rule the world, if I rule the world, I'd free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls. If I rule the world.
Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully there was some value there. It wasn't really necessarily easy to pull off, so I'm glad it came together the way it did, and hopefully it resonates deeply with somebody, and we'll push forward with Vegeta. Shout out to the Godson for blessing the world with that song and those lyrics, and also shout out to Lauryn Hill for also assisting to bless the world with that song and that lyrics. One of the greatest hip hop songs ever, and Nas is one of the greatest hip hop legends ever. So, those are two crowns. Being a legend is one crown, but being a legend of the legends is something else. So shout out to Nas on that. And we're going to push forward. There's a lot more I want to say about Vegeta, especially some good things I want to say about Vegeta, because objectively speaking, we're running out of good things to say about Vegeta. as we move forward, we're cashing in on that pool at an aggressive rate, and then unfortunately we have to start digging into a different bag or a different pool. And when it comes to Vegeta, and I have to be subjective, I have to be objective. So with the chance I have to be objective and still big him up, I'm going to do that. So Namek, specifically Namek, let's show Vegeta some more love before we get into his more sketchy and questionable history. Vegeta, Namek, hands down my second favorite Vegeta. Every character seems to take on different forms at different times. I mean, so does people. We grow, we level up. In some cases, unfortunately, we level down. We morph. We gain weight. We lose weight. We change styles. We change locations. We change hairstyles. I mean, so there's you're the same person, but it's just you're making adaptations and different changes to hopefully push forward to the person that you ultimately see yourself being when it's all said and done. My favorite adaptation or form of Vegeta is the Namek Vegeta. That's just a time in his life where he's just grinding his ass off, and he sees the vision, and and now he's executing the mission on Namek to get to that. Even though he's still trying to, and we'll get to this, still kind of got that shortcut mentality in his head to getting that Frieza. Still, this is raw Vegeta, and this is the Vegeta that turns into something great. This is the beginning of that. In Vegeta, Goku is the GOAT as far as heroes are concerned. He's arguably the greatest superhero of all time. Vegeta, we're gonna crown you this, and I would like to hear some comments on this. Vegeta is the greatest anti-hero all time. Can we go ahead and say that? Is that too much? I'm gonna say that. Like I said, we're gonna show Vegeta love. I'm gonna show Vegeta love on this show, in this episode, and in the next episode. Because after that, in half of the next episode, because after that, it gets a little shaky. But Vegeta, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna come out and put it on record, put it on wax that you are the greatest anti-hero of all time. And there's been so many anti-heroes modeled after you, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna name them off, but if you watch enough anime, you will see that there are a lot of characters that model themselves after Vegeta. And I could be just a Dragon Ball Z fanboy, and that's very possible. And I'm reading into it too much, but I mean, Saito Rurouni Kenshin, Hiei Yu Hakusho, Kazooie Mishima Tekken, the Ippo Miyata relationship in the later seasons of Ippo. You can't tell me that's not a Goku Vegeta's type relationship. And even Miyata's personality, I mean, matches Vegeta's to a certain extent. So I mean, I don't know. Vegeta is so influential to me. I can't understand why he wouldn't be just as influential to other people. Given how hard this man tries, he tries absolutely. And Namek is really when Vegeta is grinding and he's on his own and he's uninhibited. And this is mixtape Vegeta. this is mixtape Vegeta, and I love a mixtape era in a rapper's development. Like that's when they have a vision of where they want to get to, and then they're executing it in the most raw, in most cases creative, and pure sense of themselves. This is we definitely get to see Vegeta, who he is at his core, and what a real Saiyan can do when the chips are down. And I might say all this again, but I had to come in and put some more love on this episode for Vegeta. So bear with me if some things come back up later in the dialogue. But Vegeta, this is mixtape Vegeta, and this is that time in the artist's life or Vegeta's life where he's just spitting raw. You know, you never heard that shit before, and he's more or less underground and trying to come up, and he's hungry, and you can just hear it in his dialect and his tone and his voice and his flow, and Vegeta is killing shit. Vegeta's killing shit, man, and I love mixtape Vegeta. I love Namek Vegeta. There's only one other Vegeta that I love more, and we'll get to that in the next episode. But for right now, we're going to show Vegeta some Namek love and push forward on how he gets down on Namek. And thank you again for Nas for putting on and making it and putting it to words how that Namek grind, might have came out if Vegeta was in the studio. I don't know, but that was an album cut. But still, like, who knows, like, what Vegeta was, what was going through his mind when he was grinding on Namek. Like, Namek is just that pivotal time in his life that he doesn't have no Bulma, he doesn't have any Trunks, he doesn't have Frieza either supporting him or necessarily passive aggressively on his head. He's just outright in front of Vegeta now. I mean, in front of Vegeta now as an enemy, which is probably better than anything because all the resentment that Vegeta had for him. And Goku highlighted a path for him by ass whooping, but still highlighted a path for him and gave him a different direction in life. And he's just out there on his own, and every man needs that time. Like, it's good to be in a relationship and be a father and all those things, and that's all things that most men that are working up to, I would hope. But but before then, you just need some time. You just need some time for yourself to grind and put the work in and the hustle, and this is what the Namek Vegeta did for me. It's just he just showed me how important it was just to get after it, and Vegeta gets after it on Namek in so many different ways, and it's such a beautiful hustle, and we're gonna get into that. So pushing forward, Vegeta's run on Namek is clutch. it's so hard, and and I love Vegeta for it. His mixtape, should be the name of his mixtape should be Golden Titanium. That should be the name of Vegeta's mixtape, or Super Saiyan Dreamin', or I don't know. Comment, help me out on that. Like, I mean, I think Golden Titanium works just fine, but Gold Titanium or Titanium Gold or something like that. But what do you think? What do you think Vegeta's mixtape should be? Vegeta's mixtape should be named. If Vegeta had a mixtape and it was surrounded, if it was a studio in Namek, and Vegeta put out an actual mixtape, what would you think his mixtape would be named? Please comment on that. Push it forward. The Namek thing is so big for Vegeta in so many different ways, and it's so big for the characters that are now undeniably tied to Vegeta. Vegeta runs through Namek. Vegeta owns Namek. Vegeta shits all over Namek, and it's not because he's the strongest fighter either. It's because, I mean, it's not because he's the outright most powerful fighter either. There's big guns all around Namek. I mean, you take one step around Namek, you probably get your head blown off. Namek was gully like that, you know, like, and Namek was fierce, and Vegeta made it through all the way to the end, and he coming in, like I said, he wasn't the most overpowered, and coming in, he still probably was a little self conscious about what happened on Earth, but he made it through, and then he just starts catching bodies. Bui, Dodoria, Zarbon, R.I.P. random Namek Village. Sorry, that's just another Vegeta what the fuck moment. Y'all kind of was in the way, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. But Vegeta gets no credit for that, but still, I mean, but that was part of his hustle at the point in the moment. And speaking on that particular instance, he probably was. He still had a little bit more growing to do, but still, this is when Vegeta was on his own dick. Shout out to Applause. This is when Vegeta was on his own dick, and we love him for it, or I love him for it, because it really shows what a Saiyan can do, what a real Saiyan can do when the chips are down, and he proves that on Namek. And that's when that paper crown, for me, starts to become more of an actual, literal crown. Like he actually starts to take the form of the Prince of all Saiyans, like, legitimately. And that all starts in Namek. I mean, and like I said, there are big guns all around Namek. Frieza, to a certain extent, Zarbon, because Zarbon gets that ass too initially. I mean, because Vegeta was feeling himself, and why not? Because all his power has gone up inexorably because it's connected to the ki, and because of his confrontation with Goku, and he had a leg up on everybody because they all needed scouters and all that extra goofy shit, and they were like basically blind. He says that. I mean, by all instances, without Vegeta even saying that, they were stumbling around in the dark, more or less. Like, Vegeta having the awareness increase that he did by way of the ki energy was invaluable. And then that started putting him ahead of people that he really couldn't overpower physically, just outright. And we highlight Yu Yu Hakusho. We will get to Yu Yu Hakusho down the road for sure. I got plans for Yu Yu Hakusho, but Genkai says it the best in the cave with Yusuke, and I'm not going to highlight that explicitly. But anybody knows what I'm talking about knows what I'm talking about. Genkai outlines explicitly for me, for my whole anime understanding, my whole anime universe, the differences between spirit power and physical power. And as we stated later, the Saiyans had one, but they didn't kind of really fuck with the other one. But through accident and happenstance, Bardock gets them mixed up, and same thing through Vegeta. So now Vegeta he kind of rocking with both ends of both. He got two swords in his hand, right?
So he just running through motherfuckers at this point for a while until he probably feels himself. He's feeling himself every right he should be feeling himself because his Namek hustle is mean. But then Zarbon gets in that ass for the first time. But then that sets him up for him to do some futuristic shit and really fuck with Frieza. And Frieza doesn't move on Namek without Vegeta being there. Frieza can just sit back and sip his Chardonnay or his wine cooler or whatever the fuck he had in that cup. Nobody knows, but whatever. Frieza's a sissy, so and like whatever he do, Frieza didn't have to get off his lazy ass at all without Vegeta being there, and more than likely figures out a way to become immortal. He probably figures out that password. He strongs arm one of them Nameks into giving that up through some fucked up means, and then you have an immortal Frieza on your hands. Good luck with that, right? So, Vegeta puts a stop block on all that shit. I mean, even though the password was the ultimate blockade, still there had been a way without Vegeta that Frieza probably would have figured that shit out. And also, without Vegeta, nobody makes it off of Namek, immortal Frieza or not. So without Vegeta, there's no Super Saiyan. Without Vegeta, there's no Gohan. And without Vegeta, more than likely, they don't make it off of Namek. Nobody survives the Namek game, the Namek conflict. If by chance that they do, if by chance that they somehow do, because Frieza is a fucking idiot. So by chance that they do, by the help of the Dragon Balls, make it off of Namek somehow, no telling who they lose at that point. But there's no way they're ready. There's no way the androids go easy on them at that point. Oh man, you guys had a tough time of playing Namek, and it looks like you guys are down a character, so we're gonna take it easy on you guys. We're not going to destroy the whole world. We're going to destroy half of it. No, fuck that. Without Vegeta, there's no Trunks to come back and tell them about the androids, and then the series is over. Like there's no defense against the androids without a Vegeta at all. So, and again, this is Vegeta's. Namek. Vegeta just shows his iron will, his iron strength, physically, his indoctrination to the key. I mean, because on planet Earth, Vegeta was already kind of showing signs, as we say in Episode 0. Or in collaboration with Episode 0, that Vegeta was already kind of had an open mind, and he already was kind of seeing things in a different way, even under the mist of all that Saiyan culture bullshit. He still had awarenesses and notions of other things going on, and you see that when he even comes to Earth, and you see that, and then from coming to Earth, his ki energy connection goes up. And infinitely, and then we just see Vegeta become something else on Namek, and the Prince of all Saiyans on Namek, to the very beginning form of that, and so that crown starts becoming a little less paper and a little bit more something else, and again, this is his magnum opus. This is mixtape Vegeta spitting raw. Just on his grind, on his own dick, and he doesn't have any. He's completely uninhibited, and like I said, he's the smartest person on that planet. It's because now he's not so overpowered. He's the smartest individual on that whole planet. Even when Goku does show up, because Vegeta kind of takes a dive not too short after that. But as far as the dirt nap, but. And I'll give Vegeta that credit. Vegeta is probably the smartest character in all of Dragon Ball Z. As far as, I mean, obviously Gohan is scholarly smart, but that's a different kind of smart. Vegeta is overall and most effectively the smartest character in all of Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion. Goku has talents in that area too, but they're in a different area, and overall, again, Vegeta is the smartest, and Namek, he proves that. Namek, he proves that he's a fucking genius, and that's his magnum opus, and also at the same time, correspondingly, in a different track, again, as we already just said, Goku, the main man, is having his magnum opus at the exact same time, and we'll get to what that is if we're not familiar, or we think that it's in another time frame. But at the same time, oddly enough, and that's his beautiful writing, Goku again is having his magnum opus at the exact same time. This is the time that sets both of these characters up to be who they're going to be for the remainder of the series, which is season 6, in my opinion. So, and if you take away this time from Vegeta, and also if you take away Goku's magnum opus, these characters get completely smashed and mopped up real fast by Frieza. And speaking of, Vegeta accomplished one of his goals with Frieza, and that was a direct confrontation. I mean, even though that didn't go exactly the way he wanted to, and he kind of through his mouth kind of accelerated that process. Still, he was able to stand up to Frieza in a more efficient way than any other Saiyan had up until that point, straight up, and that was his goal. Was to finally look Frieza in the eye and say, fuck you, because he wasn't able to say that. That's probably all he wanted to say. I mean, he probably had other things to say, but that probably was the heartbeat of what he wanted to say. But he never could without the hammer coming down. But now, he's self-made, and Namek is giving him all this confidence and all this EXP and more than likely Saiyan power buffs, and he leveled up quite a few times, and he met that objective to tell Frieza fuck you. But after that, it kind of went down. But hey, he did what he set out to do. I mean, if Vegeta, like we said, Namek isn't perfect. Vegeta still has a lot of growing to do, and we'll get to that later. But in Namek was just so special to me as a child too. It was just such a pivotal time for all the characters. But I think Vegeta maximized that time more efficiently than anybody to a certain extent. You could say Goku probably maximize that time even more, and you probably wouldn't be wrong in that. But Goku wasn't playing a Namek game. But Goku was playing a different kind of game. Namek was about survival, and Vegeta out-survived everybody on Namek. Everybody, except for Frieza, because Frieza was so powerful he didn't have to outright survive. But everybody else had to outright survive, and Vegeta did that. And he saved a few lives along the way that changed the whole outcome of the whole series. So, I mean, as much bad as Vegeta does, he does some good too. And again, there's a good heart inside Vegeta. We see that when he makes his speech to Goku, which is probably the most important speech in all anime history, in my opinion. And I know I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanboy, but see me for it. And without that speech, Goku doesn't turn Super Saiyan. So, I don't think that's the case. I mean, there's a lot of things that had to happen go right for Goku to turn Super Saiyan, and that speech was a big part of it. And so we'll get to that later, I believe. I record a lot of things, so bear with me. But I was positive I'll touch on that to a certain extent. But the main point is, without Vegeta, you don't get Goku the way that you have him now, and you don't get Gohan the way that we have him now. We don't get the series the way that you have him now. It's the way you have it now. Even if you want to even bring in the Buu Saga, fuck it. For the moment. I'll retract my Buu ban for the moment. It's still Vegeta. I just want to highlight the importance of Vegeta, that's all. So, Buu ban put back on, and we're moving on, okay? And, like I said, they're all kind of big guns around Namek. And Vegeta was not the strongest. He did it with Iron Will. He did it with an Iron Body, no homo. And he did it with an Iron Mind. a titanium mind, titanium body, titanium will. And titanium's a new wave, so do your research on that. But anyways, titanium Vegeta, and there's nothing really much more else you can say. And the only danger probably to that whole thing never really occurred, because the secret big gun, Nail probably would have slapped everybody on Namek in the mouth. And let me express that. I said on Namek. Goku wasn't on Namek at the time. Goku was not playing a Namek game. Everybody who was playing a Namek game, Nail probably would have had them for lunch. Honestly, Nail was quiet and scary as fuck. Like, I didn't want to know. Like, I don't want to fuck with Nail. Nail's just that quiet dude. You don't fuck with Nail. Like, and I don't know if Vegeta would have survived a confrontation with Nail. I don't know about that. Interesting. Let's comment on that too, if possible. If I'm so fortunate. What happens between Nail and Vegeta if that fight pops off? And even though I love Vegeta and I want to give him the advantage, nobody knows what Nail was really capable of. Nobody knows. Except for Piccolo, I guess. But Piccolo's a hater, so he's never going to come out and say that Nail was really the thing that helped him out from that point on in time either. Because without that power buff, Piccolo was not even relevant. So who knows what Nail was about? And the way Guru bigs him up and said he was mystically and anciently trained, and Nail doesn't say shit. He just got the meme mug working. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't fuck with Nail, bro. But I don't know. Vegeta is the type that would, but good thing it come down to that, because then we might not have no Vegeta. And I don't know. Who's to say? Comment on that. But and Vegeta just shows his physical endurance and his stamina and his durability to such a level in Namek is ridiculous. The man doesn't sleep. We don't see him eat. We don't see him bathe. We just see him grinding. That's what you see. You just see Vegeta grinding. That's all you see. Vegeta hustling, trying to make it. And even though he still got that shortcut thing in his mind, more or less with the Dragon Balls, he kind of gets over that. So in Namek is what gets him over the whole shortcut mentality, because after Namek, he really gets serious about training, and we'll get into that. But man, there's nothing really else you can say about Namek. I mean, he does take a vicious L from Frieza, but he comes back. He's still around the Android series. He doesn't give up. I mean, he took a vicious L from Zarbon when his confidence was at an all-time high. But he didn't give up, I mean, even though the Frieza fight was nasty, the type kind of ass whooping that Frieza put on him, Frieza gets in that ass and does it in the most disgusting, like, mental, spiritual kind of way. I mean, and that's another thing about Vegeta. Vegeta still comes back, but that's another thing about Vegeta. Vegeta takes the most savage whoopings in the whole in the whole series. One person that probably takes more savage ass whoopings than him is Gohan, and that's debatable. But Gohan is a little ass boy. Gohan is not a big kid. Vegeta's a big kid, and he takes the most savage ass whoopings in the whole series, and it's rough on him, and it's rough to see it but he doesn't give up. And even though for temporarily that his dreams of being a Super Saiyan were put on a devastating hold, he didn't give up. He didn't lose sight of it. And he came back in the Android Saga, and he came back even nicer than he was on Namek. But Namek was just something special. It was just something. Like I said, it was that time in a character's development where you really see what that character's about, and that time ends up being the most formative and the most influential in that whole career. I stand by that, you know. And the fight with Raccoon and the confrontation with the Ginyu Force, namely the fight with Raccoon, is probably the Vegeta's greatest fight in the whole series, at least in his first 6 seasons. And because in that fight, he just says everything. He just explicitly exhibits everything that I've already said up to this point. If he hadn't done that already and Namek actions leading up to that fight, even though he more or less takes an L in that fight, and I think it was more like a tie, but I don't know, maybe not, but still, Vegeta still put on. He still put on in that fight, and we're gonna put on for Vegeta because we're gonna soak in this moment because Namek was deep, and I love the Namek Vegeta. I love the Namek Vegeta, so we're gonna sing some more praises on Namek.
And that was Vegeta 3. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you get value out of everything on the project so far. So please let me know, how to make things more special for you, or how to, ratchet this up a little bit. So I don't know, but hopefully everything has been legit so far. We love Vegeta. I love Vegeta, and just doing my best to try to big this man up. So we got more coming on him and more on other anime giants as well. So stick around. Also, the podcast is live. Check out the podcast every Friday on the podcast, and we drop every Monday and Wednesday on the YouTube side, minus any videos being unlisted for a long period of time without me noticing them. So that happened after a couple live streams. So, anyways, we're getting to it. The World Cheetah Project. Got a lot of things coming on both sides of the project. So so tag along and see what we can figure out together. So I appreciate you so much. Hopefully Vegeta appreciates it, and we'll see you next time. Rosary all day. Roll work today. I've been struggling to get my roll work done, but it's all mine. And I'm gonna make a dedication to start trying to figure out how to push all this harder. The rosary, the Ronin, the reflection. I want to be a great person. So, and I need to figure out how to make that happen, how to get my Vegeta flow on it to make that happen. So anyways, let me get out of here. We'll talk about a lot of that stuff on the podcast side. Anyways, see you next time, the Real Cheetah Project, and we'll be back for more Vegeta, more shit, and all that good stuff. So thank you so much. Turn up, level up. Rosary all day. Rosary life all day.